everybody. This is Saline County Hardliners coming at you again. We took a little hiatus for a couple of weeks because we had a couple of things to do, but we're back with a big show tonight. Something that I wasn't really real aware of that was going on, but it was a protest by the Little Rock Peace for Palestine folks at the governor's mansion after the governor came back from a trip to Israel and the UAE. That's United Arab Emirates. Who people don't know what the UAE is, but when they came, they had this protest last Saturday, and we got Brent Sharp with us tonight, and who is a full-time school teacher, and but he moonlights, does a little bit of freelance citizen journalism on the side. So he went to cover this protest, and in the middle of the protest, he is physically assaulted and attacked by these people in this protest at the governor's mansion. So we want to shed some light on this. We want people to see it, to hear it, to know this stuff is going on right here in Central Arkansas, not just LA and Washington, D.C., but it's right here in Central Arkansas. And we want to call attention to it because something needs to be done about these kind of things. So I'm going to turn it over to Brent and let him tell us what happened and how it happened. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of pictures to show. Brent, how you doing? Great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Great to be here. I appreciate you having me on. And I appreciate you all reaching out to me and giving me this opportunity. It means a lot to have the support. I went to cover the protests there last Saturday, and it started about 6:30. So it's still broad daylight when it starts. And that's kind of, important because if you want to be there with a bunch, it's better to be in daylight than not. And it was directly in front of the main gate of the governor's mansion here in Little Rock. So it's, not in an isolated area or anything. Mm-hmm. And there were I thought there were about 50 people there. I've seen reports from the news that were 100, but say between 50 and 100 people. And I went around and I was taking pictures and doing some video as well. And early on, by the way, this is the 5th time I've done this summer with these protesters. The first one was all the way back in June 14th with the No Kings protest. And early on, everybody was friendly, and it was almost kind of like a pep rally atmosphere. Mm-hmm. But after I've been there a little while, there was a guy who has seen me repeatedly out there, and he may have, found out where my stuff is and looked it up online. And he's with a group called the National Lawyers Guild. And he started speaking to some of them. Now, there were most of the protesters, like I said, there were some people out there who were Antifa, and they weren't hiding it. And they were hostile from the get-go. And then there were some of the more hardcore, I guess you'd want to say, of the pro-Hamas group. And they started getting very unfriendly in a hurry. And then after he kind of called him to the side, and so they started going around, and I could hear them telling people, okay, you can't talk to him, you can't talk to him, you can't talk to him. So I didn't try and confront him. I just kept taking pictures. So I walked over, and then when the main speakers got up, I started trying to video the speech that they give. Yeah. Well, several of them came over, and it started with the women. They would send women over first to try, and I guess they wanted me to hit a woman or something. And told me, you're not allowed to video this. You can't video this. I'm like, well, I was sitting on the sidewalk directly in front of the governor's mansion. They're holding this rally on a public street. And so I didn't argue with them. I would just step to the side and keep. So they started doing that. And I've got this posted. I think you've got it. You may not. I've got this posted on my account as well, though. They started holding up their poster and getting directly in my face and then shoving me with the posters. And so I would step sideways and they'd run into me on purpose. And then there were about 3 or 4 of them who were doing this. Now, there was a fellow there who was a really big guy with the protesters, who he actually came over and told them to knock it off and to stop. He tried to de-escalate it at first, and he's trying to get them to back off. And at that point, one of the women, and she's the one that I've got a picture of her standing there with one of the Antifa guys together. Mm-hmm. She turned on him, and I thought she was going to slug him. I think he thought that too, and so then he backed off. And it was interesting to me that that's who they sent over first. So I just kept sidestepping them and videoing. Also, water bottle hits me inside of the head. Water pours on me, but it's just a little plastic water bottle. It's not. Right. It's annoying. It's not any big deal. It's just annoying.
But it's the principle of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mostly didn't want to get it on my phone,
Right.
But then this kid well, I say kid, he was thinking about 19 years old, and at least as taller than I am, and maybe not quite as heavy, but maybe so. Just shoves me as hard as he can. I'm standing right there on the curb, so I fall off the side of the curb, and I hit the ground. So I get up at this point, and I walk back, and at this point I start to walk north, which is away from the protest on Cross Street there where it's at. And so I'm headed back the other direction now, away from the governor's mansion, the protest, and I'm trying to stay in the middle of the street just so everybody can see me. I don't get isolated. And I call 911 because, the guy just, slammed me to the ground. So at this point, I'm walking. Well, the guy that slammed me now, he's over on the sidewalk walking parallel to me as I'm walking away. And so I start giving them his description as we're walking on to the 911 operator. And we go a little ways down the street, and we didn't get very far. And he's about 20, 30 yards away. All of a sudden, he turns around and just runs. He charges me as fast as he can. He's running straight at me. I go, he's going to, I see where this is going. And so I just kind of tried to brace myself, and he runs, and he tackles me flat out right there on the street. And so I hit the ground, and he's on top of me briefly, and then he jumps up. And he's kicking me as hard as he can. And by the way, I'm still on the phone with the 911 operator this time. So I told, look, this guy's trying to kill me. He's actually trying to kill me. I need help out here right now. I need some help right now. And this goes on, probably just a few seconds. It seems like a few years, but probably just a few seconds. So at that point, after he kicks me until I guess he gets tired or whatever. And by the way, even the police interviewed the protesters, and the protesters back all this up. The ones who talked to him gave the same version of events.
They said that he attacked,
shoved me to the ground and kicked me. Yes, in fact, they actually said that he kicked me in the head. I don't remember getting kicked in the head, but you might not. Mm-hmm. So he gets up. He goes back down. So I started walking the same. Now we're still walking the same way, and I'm falling at a larger distance now, but still calling it in. And he eventually got down a ways, and all of a sudden this car swoops up, and he jumps in and takes off. And about a minute later, the LRPD finally gets there, and I've got it on my phone from the time.
Did he know that you had called the police?
Yes. Okay. He could hear me talking to them.
Okay, that's why I got the hell out.
Yeah. So they got there the entire time from when I called to the police got there. I know they're right at this time because I cut the call off, of course, when the officers actually arrived. And so it was a 6-minute call. So from the time I dialed 911 to the time they got there, and this is at the governor's mansion, was 6 minutes. So there was no police presence on hand during this protest ahead of time, even though they had announced they were going to have it. The police took a report from me. Now, it's kind of annoying because what they did, they wrote it up as a fight, not as an assault. They also wrote up that they're just filing battery in the third, which is a misdemeanor against this guy. It should have been, I really thought it should have been aggravated assault, which is a felony. They're only treating it as a misdemeanor, which means that they won't really follow up with much investigation. So I did go by and get a copy of the police report from on Monday. And then I have taken a copy of that, and I gave it to the staff at the governor's office up at the Capitol building as well, and explained to them who I was and why I was leaving this. And because what I really want is a copy of, I'm sure that there's footage, because we're directly in the middle of the street, directly in front of the main gate of the governor's mansion. So what I really want is footage of this that I can then give to the Little Rock police.
Right.
And what the governor's staff told me is this is strictly a Little Rock police matter. You're just going to have to handle it through them. And if they request it, then maybe we can do something about getting the footage out. But Little Rock police is going to have to request it, which I really don't think is going to happen.
That's going to take some poking and prodding.
Do you have an attorney?
Was anyone actually?
Not right now. I do not. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. So what I was going to say is, was anyone? So did other news stations really cover this much?
There was a news station there when I first was there. There was I don't know which one it was. There was a news camera set up, but they left shortly after it started, and they were gone by the time all this happened.
All right. Well, I've actually got a video of one of the news stations that covered it, and I want to let you kind of watch it, see what your reaction to it is.
Okay. I have not seen this.
We're going to do some technology for a second.
That's scary.
Good thing I'm not doing it.
New overnight pro-Palestinian protests disrupting downtown Little Rock. A small group of demonstrators gathering outside the governor's mansion, calling out Governor Sanders for her support of Israel.
Sarah Sanders, choose a side.
Sarah Sanders, choose a side.
Ceasefire or genocide.
Ceasefire or genocide.
Members of the group telling us they're standing in solidarity with the thousands of protests happening at many college campuses nationwide. With flags of Palestine in hand, they're calling on the governor to support calls for a ceasefire in Gaza.
How can you claim to follow Jesus and blindly support the genocide that is taking place in Gaza? We're here to say that religion and spirituality, we can stand together. We don't have to keep blindly supporting all of these wars.
Just like that.
Police
that
are there to make sure anything didn't
Oh,
get
go
out
ahead.
of control.
I'll pause it.
the bald guy with the long beard who was there speaking just then, he was the one actually speaking when they jumped me.
Okay.
Just so you know, he was talking about spirituality and how can we stand together. He was actually the one speaking when I got jumped.
Okay. So he backed that up then. Okay.
So you said that there really wasn't a big police presence, but they claimed that there was.
There were no police there. Who claims that there was?
This would be THV 11.
Well, by the time they got cut, all right, this is all after. This is after dark here. So this is after I've already left. Because after I was jumping, the police were like, well, we can't stay here. So I left at that point. And so this, and it was still broad daylight when I left.
Look,
this is.
I want to say one thing, and this is my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer, but when there's been violence already happened, they need to disband this thing. When they create violence, they need to stop. They need to send them all home. This is over with, Mm-hmm. And this is a problem. This is a real problem. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're great. It's good. So the like I said, there were some there who were they made no bones about they were pro Hamas.
Yeah,
there was Antifa there, which
Stupid.
you know who Antifa is and what they're about. And there was but both of them, they're being run. I'm going to go ahead and just say I'm not speaking for anyone but myself on this. I'm not speaking for
absolutely
you or for the podcast.
You're free to speak here.
Photos.
They are being run by a group called the National Lawyers Guild. And these guys, you'll see at their protests, and they show up in green hats, like this guy right here.
Green, yeah.
With the green hats. And by the way, in Seattle and Portland, where Antifa is really bad, and this is the main guy here.
Badasses right there.
That's it. That one's actually from the June 14th No Kings protest. Same guy.
Okay.
He didn't like me taking his picture there. You can tell.
Oh well.
And there he is again. This was at the governor's mansion now 2 months later. So he's out there directing traffic. But they are a big part of the national. And this young lady right here is also one of the National Lawyers Guild people that was with them. She told me herself before the main guy started telling everybody not to talk to me. She told me herself that she's a law student at UALR Bowen School of Law. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's what she told me.
Good for her.
Yeah, so she. By the way, she's not a U.S. citizen either. I don't know exactly where she's from, but she's a foreign student.
Okay, so then she needs to go home.
Now, this guy was in my face, mean mugging me kind of early on here when I was trying to take.
How can he mean mug you? You can't even see his face, nothing but his little beady eyes. And
well, you can also. It looks to me like he kind of needs a training bra there if you look close.
Yeah, he's these people. These people need to be handled. Is what they need to be handled. They need to be handled.
And here he is now. That woman right there who's with him. If you can go back to the first part and get a good close up of her face and freeze it at the very beginning, we need to see her. Yeah, right there. Yeah. She's a real sweetheart. Yeah, right there.
Oh yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
And I've got some other, because she kept getting in my face, and she repeatedly would come over and shove me while I was trying to take the video. She was one of the main ones early on. I want to talk about the different women.
They're
Here's
getting
the
away
part
with this
where
crap.
they
Go
start
down
getting
just a little bit.
signs
Go
up.
down.
Oh, go ahead.
So what you're saying?
Can you go back to where you've got everybody there and go down just a little bit? All right. Go scroll down a little bit. Right here, this guy with the holding up the poster right there in the middle. The guy holding
This guy right here.
this guy right here is the guy who jumped me. And I have given the police this photo. I have some friends who are also retired law enforcement that I have given the photo to, and they're saying they're going to share it with people. But so far,
this is the guy.
This is the guy. This is the guy who actually attacked me, and while I was on my back in the middle of the street, was kicking me as hard as he could. This guy
He needs to go to jail where he needs to go.
But that's him right there. And
He needs to go to jail.
I gave the police this picture. I don't know. They got to be trying not to find this guy.
I'm gonna go ahead and show him some of your injuries you got.
Yeah. Well, I still got it. That one's from. It was pretty fun there. That's my left arm.
Is that like a road rash from him throwing you on the ground?
Yeah. This was. Well, we were rolling around. I was rolling around on asphalt. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah. That's the leg.
I don't like doing that when I'm supposed to be doing that.
This is assault and batteries with this. I don't know what the deal is with the Little Rock police.
What it is actually it's aggravated assault, which is a Class D felony.
Yeah.
And I cannot get them to follow up. This is how close this one guy got up in my face, shoving me. This was a different guy beforehand. So you can tell there he's, right up in my space.
Oh, why don't you go ahead real quick and tell people your handle so they can follow you on X.
Oh, it's at Real Okrahead.
This guy right here. Are we at Real Okrahead?
Yeah, at Real Okrahead. I think that's.
So these people think they can get away. This is a problem. They're not. They're not badasses if that's what they think, but they're just becoming groups. So
yeah.
Well, that's the thing is it's called mob mentality. You get a bunch of small little twigs together that think they're strong.
Listening. They're called punks.
Well, here's the thing. This thing is real. This is kind of hilarious in a dark way. That once the guy started warning everybody that I was not one of them, they were supposed to. At that point, they all start putting masks on. I was like, guys, you have been you walk down here in broad daylight. You've been standing out in front of the governor's mansion for half an hour now, and now you're putting masks on. Because if you really believe you're under surveillance, you got to know it's way too late. And it was, but what that does is once they have the masks on, there's a psychological switch that flips, and they become much more aggressive. Even though they're not anonymous, they feel anonymous, and they get a lot more aggressive. And of course, that's why Antifa wears those masks.
Nose can be broke through a mask just as well as it can with that one.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was trying to avoid all violence.
I know. It's me ranting, okay? It's me. This is really, you have just as much right to be on that street as they do.
Oh,
you have just as much right, to defend yourself as they do.
Well, and once again, now this is one of the things that's kind of ironic as well, because I did go around and take pictures, and if you go to my handle there, you'll see where I've been all the way back to June 14th. This is the 5th time I've gone out to photograph these. The No Kings was the first one, and if you look at my photographs and what most of the pictures I've been taking, what you're going to see is I actually get their. Now this is one of the things. First, don't dox us. Don't. I actually asked people's permission. Are you okay with me taking your picture with you out here and with your sign and all this? And they've been posing, and they were doing that. Even that one kid who attacked me there early on, he posed with his poster for me, and that's why I have the picture of him now. So I wasn't out there, trying to do something on the down low or dox him or anything. I'm just here's a protest. I'm taking pictures, and I'm going to put this up later, and I'll put a humor because you see the other thing. I put humorous captions with them because a lot of them are funny. The pictures are just funny, and so I put humorous captions on them and put them up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't advocate for any violence against anybody or anything like that.
I understand, yeah.
or even doxing of anybody or anything like that.
Yeah, but they need that. I mean, until it's handled, it's going to keep getting worse because it's got, and I'm not saying you handling it. I mean, as a society, until we handle it, it is. And I think Trump's doing a good job of initiating it in your major cities right now, but it's everywhere. And I think that's great. And they're freaking out about it, of course, because they're freaking out about it and it's making it worse. And it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yes.
But there's no reason to tolerate it.
No. And I have a thought on how to handle it going forward and try and maintain nonviolence also. And I've talked to some people already and get a group of at least 3 guys and maybe 2 groups or 3 groups of 3 guys, even depending on how many people I can, round up to go to one of these when they have a big one and have just one person there to stand, watch my back so I don't get jumped from behind again like last time.
Yeah, because you being by yourself, they love that. That's exactly what they like.
Well,
I mean, not that to them. That's they don't want, if there's 10 of them, they don't want 10 of you. I mean, that's not going to be fair.
Right. And what happened when this, those women were there hitting me in the face with the poster. But I was disoriented enough that then that gave him the chance to jump me from behind. It was actually as they were shoving, the poster, all of a sudden I get hit with the head and then knocked over. But one person watched and then another person just maybe a little inconspicuously at first, and then the video just me videoing them and what they're doing.
Well, if Antifa was there, this is my opinion. If Antifa was there, and these green hats were there, American Legal, what is it?
National Lawyers Guild.
National Legal Lawyers Guild, who are violent.
Yes.
We got violent groups that are going. Antifa is known to be violent. Anybody says they're not is crazy. It's been sleeping, and so is Hamas. So, if you're having a demonstration, especially in front of the governor's mansion, there needs to be a police presence.
Yes,
there needs to be a police presence, and why there isn't, I don't know. But I know Little Rock has got problems with confronting things like this because they're just so woke, it's crazy.
Right.
But Saline County, that wouldn't work out for them, probably. Probably would not work out for them.
Well, here's the thing, though. If it metastasizes in Little Rock, like a cancer cell, and it keeps growing there, and it's allowed to keep growing there, it is going to spill over into Saline County.
Oh, it will. It will. But what I'm saying is it won't be addressed the same way, I don't believe.
But I'm saying if it's going on in Little Rock right now and we just all turn a blind eye, then it's going to come to bite us down here.
Absolutely.
So, and that's now. I'll tell you how far out the National Lawyers Guild is. By the way, they were there, helping.
Yeah, give some history on that. Yeah.
Well, they go all the way back to 1937. They were involved with the most violent parts of the anti-Vietnam War, the Vietnam War protests. They were involved with the Weather Underground. And, if you've been following all this, Weather Underground, they were the bombing police stations in the 70s and killing people, including police officers. And the National Lawyers Guild was involved with them, including financing them and then providing legal representation to them and organizing them. The National Lawyers Guild they were involved with the Black Panthers Party then, and the worst parts of the violence with that. They were later on. They up until modern times have been involved with the Occupy Wall Street movement.
Yeah.
Back in 2020, they were involved with the Black Lives Matter and the riots. They were involved in the riots, especially on the West Coast, like Portland and Seattle. They're really big, but they are here too as well. And with the Antifa riots there, they are really big, and they're still active there also. And some of the people who cover that in Portland and Seattle, they have pictures on a regular basis. And now they're leading also the rioters against ICE. They're some of the ones leading those riots against the ICE agents,
which is not working out for them real well. But anyway, yeah, I believe that. Yeah,
but that, and they go all the way back, like I said, almost 90 years now that they've been involved, and every major to the left wing movement against the United States, like to overthrow the government, communists and whatnot. you can find the National Lawyers Guild has been up to their ears in it just about every single time. And they remain up and they provide legal advice, they provide financing, they provide organization, including on the ground, like these guys who were at the protest the other day. There were 4 of them there the other day. But that one guy that I showed the picture of, he appears to be the main one in Little Rock because he keeps showing up, and I've seen him, like I said, ever since June 14th. And he seems to be like acting as like the traffic cop. They're directing a lot of it.
You're talking about the guy with the glasses.
The guy with the glasses and the lime green hat. Yeah, the
funky dude with the glasses and the green hat.
Yeah.
With funky looking dude. Yeah. Little coward. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember seeing him. Throw his picture up there again, Kevin. Let everybody see this. So if anybody sees these green hats and they're somewhere, stay away from them.
Right. But do get their pictures because they don't like that.
Yeah. What I meant by stay away from them, they're going to be trouble. All right.
Now, like I said,
he looks like a real, he looks like a real soldier, doesn't
he? Yeah. That's his profile. I've got some face-on pictures there somewhere as well of him.
He's a punk.
Yeah. Let me see.
Did you have to have a medical attention, or did you handle all this stuff?
The police called an ambulance, and the paramedics. I felt kind of silly, but they said go ahead and let the paramedics check me out, so I did, and they said,
"You hit the ground." Is that him?
That's him. That's him.
Yeah. I don't know what he thinks I don't know. Oh boy.
But and this is at the June 14th.
He needs to be in jail.
Yeah, this picture right here is at the June 14th No Kings rally that he was organizing that also.
Indigenous people and part of the plot to tear down the country, that's what their purpose is. Is this another loser here talking?
Well, this is where and including now, she was one of the speakers. Now she's intentionally running into me as I'm getting whacked with posters. You see her there. Now I'll tell you how far out the National Lawyers Guild is. The day after the October 7th attack, the very next day, October 8th, they put out an official letter defending the October 7th attacks by Hamas on Israel. And
go ahead.
Defending them and pretty much endorsing them.
Wow. Do they realize what those people did that day?
Yes. But
stacking babies up like cordwood so they could count them after they killed them, things like that.
They know, and they put out a letter endorsing it the very next day. And to have, and I don't know if you've ever gone to a lawyer and tried to get like a legal brief written for you. That doesn't just happen overnight.
No.
It smacks of something that they already knew something was in the pipeline and they already had it ready to go.
Yeah.
This is the other group that was with them, with the Lawyers Guild, right? The Little Rock Peace for Palestine.
Yeah, that they are the pro-Hamas group, and they're out of a local mosque here, over in West Little Rock.
I got a feeling I'm going to be banned by this guy soon.
There hasn't been anything response from and I know it's just you. It's not like a group of people got injured, but you got injured. It shouldn't matter. You're just as important as anybody else. So there hadn't been any comments from the governor on saying, "Hey, Little Rock is not going to. Arkansas is not going to put up with this crap."
I haven't heard anything, and I've reached out.
That's dropping the ball.
I've reached out to the Attorney General's office as well, and I haven't heard anything from them either. Hey, if you know anybody who knows, is in politics here, who can get either of their ears and get somebody to just give me a call, that'd be great. I'd love to talk to them about this.
Yeah, it needs to be. Yeah, it needs to be out there, and it's like you said. It might have been a small fry compared to the rest of the nation, but they got basically so far they've got away with this. So far, they've had no repercussions from this situation.
Right.
So all it's going to do, there's going to be other events happen like this, that they're not going to like, especially with everything going on right now. Especially when you may have a day I know we're not on top of the chart of getting rid of folks, illegal immigrants yet, but we may get to that position where ICE does. I mean, ICE is here, but it's not really you know what I mean? It's not LA.
We're not a priority state. We're not a priority state.
Right. But it could get down to where they are hitting Little Rock hard. That's where you would start, I would think. And, and there's criminal illegal immigrants here. And these people are going to get more emboldened when nothing's happening to them. Now, right. For everybody to know that's listening, I am not against, when I say this, I am not against protesting whatsoever.
No.
Everyone has a right to protest within the law. But you don't have a right to attack people. You don't have that right. It is illegal. It is not part of the deal. And, I would think in front of the governor's mansion, you'd have to have some kind of a protest permit. I know that they have protest permits, but I don't know
anything about that. This is one thing out of the news report, and the news report it was not their fault. This is the fault of the Little Rock police report of the incident. They reported, first of all, that there was a fight. Okay, there was no fight. I never threw a single punch.
No, it's you against 50 people.
Yeah. This is why I want that video, because it's going to show I'm just laying there on the ground with this guy kicking me. That's not a fight. That's aggravated assault.
That's mob mentality. That's a mob attacking person.
The other thing is that they called me a counter-protester. Okay, look, I was not a protester or a counter-protester, either one. I was just there taking picture and videos, and anybody who chose that they wanted to talk to me, talking to them.
But you had the right. Actually, you had the right to do that.
Yeah,
just as much as they have the right to have a microphone out there and raise hell, Yeah,
but see, here's the thing: if say Channel 7 or Channel 11 were there, and one of their people got jumped, and you said, well, their person there was a counter protester, they would go ballistic on you for saying
that's
that.
The way it works, yeah. But
because you're just a journalist, you're covering it. Well, I want to be specific. I was not counter protester. I was not there with an Israel or a Sarah Huckabee or anything like that sign. I was just taking pictures, taking video, and asking people about the protest.
Okay, but I'm going to say this. Even if you were, you're not. You weren't. You were there as a journalist, a neutral journalist. I understand.
Right.
But say you had been. They still don't have a right to attack you.
It would still be, what they did would still be completely wrong. Yes.
It doesn't really change what happened either way, whether it was you as a journalist or you as a citizen or you, and yeah, they can say, well, he came to cause trouble. He should have known that they're going to attack you. That's not the point. That's what they keep saying. That's not the point. How do they have the rights and you don't have the rights? That's what I'm complaining about.
And you are 100% correct, but I just want to make sure the record's straight.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to put you in any light either way. I'm letting you do this is key.
Right. I've tried to maintain a journalistic neutrality whenever I go out and cover it.
Sure. But journalists have the right to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody has the right to defend themselves.
Absolutely.
And if it's you against one person, it's defending yourself. But if it's you against 10 people, it can be a life and death situation.
Yes.
I've been in the Middle East before when I was in situations where I was trying to be overcome.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna go into details on it, but it ain't gonna happen, because that's not, that's the way they play. That's the way they roll. Is 10 against 1. That's the way. Yeah. I don't care what they say, what anybody says. You can guarantee there's more of them than whoever they're chasing.
Okay. Well, it's always these leftists that keep on doing this. Like we covered the No Kings protests a while back, and first thing I noticed is they were doing all these French Revolutionary, talks and all that.
I put some of that up on mine also. They were talking about the one rather large woman who has the sign that says, "If not 1789, then why are we setting up a guillotine?" I think is what it is.
Yeah, I saw that. But we were some guy was actually quoting the French national anthem that's been banned for a couple times because it was so violent.
Yeah.
And I got on there, and this woman who was one of the protest managers, or what they call themselves, she got on there. She banned me from her page and had to take it all down because she was trying to convince me that it was not violence. It was just recording and all. And like, those are some kind of violent terms he's using there.
First of all, the saying of the one going to set up a guillotine on the White House lawn. Okay, well, yeah, obviously that's calling for violence. There were a ton of them out there with the 8647 signs, which of course that's calling for violence. There was Antifa and Black Bloc at the June 14th No Kings rally also. And let's be honest, Hamas has been a designated terrorist group since the 90s. The U.S.
They're trash. They're trash. They're just trash.
It's not just that the trash. What's important is here, the U.S. government for nearly 30 years has designated them a terrorist organization. And when these people are out here wearing the keffiyehs, that is the Hamas uniform. That keffiyeh that they're wearing is the Hamas uniform, and they're showing support for it. You can't wear the Hamas's keffiyeh and say you're being nonviolent at the same time. If you're wearing the keffiyeh, you are supporting violence.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, and it's being tolerated.
Yeah.
Just
and
years ago it wouldn't happen.
Going down there with the keffiyeh would be no different than one of us showing up in white robes and a hood. It'd be the same thing.
See how that would work.
Yeah, but it would be. And by the way, my ancestors, even all the way back, didn't have anything to do with that.
And I'm not condoning that, but
no,
I'm just saying I don't condone that at all. It's terrible. But they have some kind of a mentality. It's kind of like I can hit you 3 times, and then if you hit them, oh my God, he hit me. Well, it's like, where do we get this mentality that it's okay to do it for one side, not the other? But it's just rampant right now.
Well, the problem is because the news groups, because like I showed you on that one earlier, they didn't mention at all, even though it was after the fact, they didn't mention at all about the violence that took place earlier. The news, as long as the media keeps propping them up, they will keep doing this.
And that's why it's so important. That's why I wanted to be so specific about I was not there as a counter-protester, because I want to get this actual facts, not what this news organization, which
but you never said a word, did you? I don't see that you said a word. You were just observing the protest, and you weren't one of them. You just weren't one of them. In other words, you weren't joining. If you don't join in with them, you're an enemy.
Right. The only thing I said, it wasn't that I didn't say. The only words I said were I went up to different people and I would ask them, "Are you okay with me taking your picture with your sign?"
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And they'd be like, and then a couple of them, and I asked, well, why are you here? Tell me about, and in fact, one woman had a free Congo. And so I told her, look, I know what the free Palestine is about, and I know what the free Sudan is about. What's the free Congo about? So she went on telling me about what the free Congo is about. And so I was like, okay. And just actually, recording what she's telling me.
Yeah.
And it's non-confrontational. And like I said, early on, everybody was friendly.
That's
until
fine.
the Green Hats got involved.
So who? Okay, at first it was civil and friendly at first. It was it's supposed to be where you can exchange ideas even and not become violent. Okay, well, who initially started the real violence? I think you said it, but I want you to say it again.
The National Lawyers Guild guy started talking to a couple of the people there, and then they went around, a couple of the organizers, and then they started going around and talking to the rest of the crowd, and that's
they're telling them to attack you is what they're doing.
Right.
Saying, blow him up or whatever, and the women would like you to hit them, for sure.
Right. The first thing they don't talk to him, then don't let him take your picture, then don't let him video, then and it just went downhill from there. But it started with the Green Hats, and specifically that one guy with the glasses.
And he didn't do anything.
No,
he just gave orders.
Once it starts, I tell you what he did do though. Once the police got this guy right here, once the police got there, and I was talking to the police, and they're taking the report, he actually started to walk over there by the police to try and get my information as they were taking the report.
Are you serious?
I am serious. And so I actually stopped giving my report to the officer. I said, can you get this guy away from me and get him out of here? Because, you know, and so then they like shoot him off. But he started trying to walk over and because, you know, when you give the police report, you got to give him your name, your address, your phone number, all this. And so he's walking up while I'm giving this information to the police officer. And so I'm like, hey, he needs to be away.
Yeah.
And so at that point, you know, they had him go back away. I don't know what he did or didn't get.
Well, that's so they can come back later and try and get you. That's the thing right there.
Yeah.
They'll try and dox you. They'll try and get you,
but,
go after you.
You know, I don't know what the heck, you know.
Well, like I said, I live on the Saline County side of the line, so
you don't want to. You don't want to.
I don't think they'll try and come down here, but you never know.
No. Yeah, I mean that'd be a big mistake, you know. Because I'm on the quorum court of Saline County. I'm a justice of peace, and they start pulling that crap in Saline County, I will be vocal about that. And I know the people here, they're not going to, sheriffs and stuff they're not going to put up with that.
No.
I know that for a fact.
The deal with Little Rock is Frank Scott is the mayor.
Terrible.
And he is a big supporter of these. He was a big supporter of Black Lives.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Antifa, and he's a big supporter of these pro-Hamas people.
Yes, he's terrible mayor, terrible police chiefs. All that's terrible in there.
And
that's a problem.
I don't think the cops on the street, the ones I dealt with,
are
bad people.
No.
But they know if they write the report up a way that Frank Scott doesn't like it, they can lose their job.
Absolutely. And I believe, I don't have the police chief's name, but I know the police chief. They're all, I mean, there's been several instances in Little Rock of things going on that they allowed to happen. One of them, and I'll say it because we had the show on, because we had an investigative. Jimmy Cabin is an investigative on the Malinowski murder, and you know they dropped the ball on that deal.
Yeah,
I don't know if you heard about that. The man that was killed, it was the airport manager who was.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. No,
killed.
I know some people who knew him.
Well, we had a show on that. If you want to look back in our history, we had a really good show on that with Jimmy Cabin, and he was doing investigative reporting on that. And that's a bogus deal that they won't do anything about.
Right.
So ATF screw up. Well, not a screw up. ATF just.
I think that was intentional.
Yes, it was a bad deal, and nobody's
the fact that they all turn their body cams off does not speak well for it.
Yeah, and the mayors and the police, they don't want to mess with it, because they screwed up. So I don't have a lot of respect. I mean, I got respect. Don't get me wrong. I got a lot of respect for police officers, a ton, but not crooked.
Okay. Let me see. I had something here. Let me see.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah. Let me see. Oh. Yeah. And like I said, the main thing that, and it shouldn't have been surprising, is that the initial assault, and there were several of them, that it was what you call simple assault. I'm not injured, but it's when they just come up and like shove you with the posters. That was all women that they were having do that.
I wonder why they did that.
That makes sense.
They so badly wanted me to hit a woman.
Right. That's news. Yeah.
And if I had to hit a woman, man.
Oh, they'd be all over you.
Coast to coast, CNN, everybody would have that on 24/7. Look what this pro-Israeli, yada yada yada.
Oh, you'd have been arrested then.
Oh yeah, I would have gone to jail for sure.
I don't care if they shoved you on. If it was they shoved you.
Like I said, the guy who actually did the aggravators, he was also a very young guy, and had anything happened to him, they would have been like this unarmed protester, because after all, he's just kicking you. He's not attacking you with a knife or a gun, so he's an unarmed, and it'd be the whole thing.
Well, you're unarmed too, though.
This unarmed youth. Yeah, him. They would have been you did this horrible thing to this unarmed youth.
Of course, to be honest, I'm a concealed carry instructor, and they, if you feel your life is threatened legally, really,
right.
In our state, it's not we don't have the we don't have stand your ground.
We do have to stand. You're allowed to stand your ground in Arkansas.
No, now you are, yes, but we didn't have that. But now we do. So legally, it might be a mess, but I don't know if these people understand this, but they're going to get the wrong person one of these days.
Well, right, and like I said, and I've got two friends who are both former Marines and retired law enforcement that I talked, and one of them was adamant with me, like, look, you are in danger of it because one kick gets through to your temple and he could have killed you. And he's like, yeah, you need to understand, this could get you killed. And I
get a lot of internal injuries him kicking you. You could get tons of different internal injuries that would maim you or kill you.
And so he was employing a potentially lethal level of violence, and without any provocation. And
I mean, but you had the right. Realistically, you had the right. You didn't do it because you did the right thing, right? But you did have the right to pull that little sucker's legs out from under him.
Well,
I said you had the right. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to make.
And this is where it's a difficult line, okay? And it really is, and especially in a situation like that, it's a really difficult line, okay? Even if I have the right to do it, what are the consequences going to be? What am I going to have to deal with down the road?
No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right on that. Yeah.
Media framing. I tell you what, media framing is the worst tool they have, and
that's why I want to be adamant. I was not there as a counter protester. That's not true.
I understand. Yeah, not right. But I'm not saying that the people should do any kind of rebellion against these folks. I'm just saying that they need to step up. They need to step it up. This law enforcement on this stuff. They need to step it up.
Right. I don't think as long as Frank Scott is mayor of Little Rock, that he's gonna.
I agree.
Let him. And what needs to happen, my personal opinion, what needs to happen is the same thing that happened finally back in 2021. Asa Hutchinson finally stepped in and took control of LRPD away from Frank Scott and put the Arkansas State Police in charge and shut it down. He never should have given control back to him. He should have just kept it. And Governor Sanders, she needs to step in and do the same thing now.
Yeah, she needs to address this because it's not going to be the last time this happens.
No.
I'm not saying to you, but somebody else. It'll be somebody else. It'll be some other situation. Now, the incident, the last time they had a Capitol incident, which was, I don't remember, it was during the not Rodney King, the
Black Lives Matter, right?
Yeah. All the Minneapolis, the Minneapolis
Yeah.
situation, all that.
Yeah.
I'd seen broadcasts. This has been probably 6 years ago or so. I've seen broadcasts where on the Facebook where all these BLM folks were going to come. They're going to take care of business at the Capitol. Well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I'll tell you why it didn't happen. Because you had a lot of counter folks. I mean, you had guys there with assault weapons.
Preparation.
I mean, they were saying, no, this not, and it didn't. And you know why? Peace through strength.
Right. No.
And that's what's got to happen. But the law enforcement ought to, and these people were all paid hecklers, I call them, And
okay,
they pay these people.
I'm glad you said that. There's one thing I got to tell you about while I was there. So as I'm there, and after things had gotten ugly, some guy comes up to me, and as I'm filming, he goes, "How much are they paying you?" I go, "Well, I guess I make good money, but who do you think is paying me?" I was like, he go, "No, how much are they paying you?" I go, "Man, I wish, because if they paid me, I'd be out here a lot more often." But that was their.
I wouldn't doubt they're getting money. I wouldn't doubt that they're not getting money.
Some of them, by the way, I'm very sure they were getting paid, because I would ask that, especially you'll see some of the elderly people out there who are holding just kind of generic signs and look kind of confused.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask them, well, what are you here about? I don't really know. I don't really know why I'm here. I'm just here. And so we've heard about them going to nursing homes and offering people money to come out and hold a sign. And I that's what I think I was saying, because there's one old lady. She was a very sweet lady, and she wasn't like, and she just I don't really know what the sign's about. I'm just holding it here, just sitting here holding the sign.
And they take orders when they get paid. They take orders.
Right, and there was some more like that. Very elderly people who were just seemed kind of confused there when they had the protest at the federal courthouse here in Little Rock. And,
well, Sarah Sanders is a national figure. She's an international figure.
Right.
And when they stir things up in Little Rock, it's pretty. It could be visible, and I think that they pay.
Oh, definitely.
George Soros, he's been known to pay protesters, and because you can go out there after they protest, you'll find if they're doing it for several days or a long time period, and there's a lot of them, there'll be meals sent to them, there'll be water sent to them. Yeah. Now, who's supplying that? That costs money, and it's coming from whoever is organizing this and paying these folks.
Well, a lot of that, like I said, is this National Lawyers Guild. Now, I know George Soros is involved in some of that, and that is true. But the National Lawyers Guild, actually, they go all the way back to the 1930s here in the U.S. And they've been organizing paying it also. Can I throw a shout out? Do you mind to a couple of guys who cover this, a couple of other blogger, internet
absolutely
leaders? There's a guy named Andy No, NGO, who has a Twitter X account. Yeah. And he's been covering Antifa all the way back for like 10 years.
I like Andy.
Here local.
Okay.
No, he's not local. He's I don't know where he's from. But
he was in Portland. I think he's in England right now.
Oh, okay. It's a national,
Yeah. There's a lady also out there on the West Coast that I've talked with some. She's gotten beaten up by him a couple of times. Goes by Honey Badger Mom. Online once again on X, Honey Badger Mom. And then another guy who's really good covering Antifa and a lot of the stuff they've been up to is Jonathan Che, Choe. It's a Korean name. The Che Show. They've all three of those, I would say, because and especially Honey Badger Mom has been really supportive of me after this happening, and give me a lot of support and everything. And she's had the same thing happen to her repeatedly. So, and they're all, like I said, they're also all just independent. Well, Che was actually employed by one of the news organizations there in Seattle, or I think it's either Seattle or Portland, and they actually fired him for covering Antifa and what they were.
Oh, doing. Say for instance, like was it Seattle? They took over the block or something for a week or something like that.
Right.
See, stuff like that. Okay. That hadn't happened here because Washington is a bleeding heart, one of the worst states in the country, right. And of the government is. All the people are fine, but how can you? I mean, they put up with this. They don't have to put up with this stuff. They don't have to. It's against the law what they're doing, and they're ignoring it to keep peace. And we can't ignore things to keep peace in.
Well, it doesn't keep the peace.
No, I mean, what I mean is
right. No, right. That's the reason
it can escalate
if
when
you
do
ignore it, it'll go away.
Yeah, you can. Like right now, Trump, he's escalating it to a means, but you got to do that to get rid of it. I mean, if you just sit there and let them do their thing, they're raising hell, they're going crazy, they're going insane, they're burning things, they're going nuts. But hey, whatever, it's going to be handled.
It's like ignoring an infection does not make the infection go away.
Exactly.
You've got to go actually in there and excise it, cut it out.
Exactly.
And,
it's like Hamas, it's like Iran. Here they are messing around, and you go in there and handle them, they get quiet.
Yeah.
Well,
You
do
know?
y'all think that Sarah Sanders has the gumption to actually do that?
I do.
I think she has a gumption. Yeah.
I don't think she knows anything about what happened Saturday, because I think what's happening is, like I said, I went. Her staff was very closed off. Didn't want to talk to me. Didn't want. I had to really just come on, guys, take the copy of the report to get them even to take it. I doubt they ever said word one to her about it or showed it to her. I think her staff, acts as gatekeepers, which is their job. That is their job. But I don't think she has any knowledge about what actually happened. And any knowledge she does have is probably what came off of that news report.
Yeah, and it doesn't look good for this kind of stuff to happen. Like I said, it was just, it wasn't a small incident to you at all, but on a grand scale, it was a small incident.
Hey, I've had worse.
But it could be a bigger incident, and she doesn't want that where it does attract national news. And I know she don't want to have that on her shoulders.
No, nothing negative.
Because that she's in her stance in government, that would be it would not look good for her to let Little Rock be ransacked by a bunch of green-hatted.
That's hey, you're in politics. If you know anybody who can get a bug in her ear or in one of her,
we're going to see what we can do to spread the word on it. We are, but there's people. It needs to be more disclosed than has been. And I said, it's a smaller incident, so that's why it's not been probably. I didn't know, to be honest. I didn't know really much about it until Kevin brought it to my attention.
Let me give one more. Let me give one more shout out if I can. Then
sure.
Go ahead, boss.
Ty
Go ahead.
Clevenger. I don't know if y'all know Ty. He's big on X. He's also been published by Gateway Pundit. And Infowars has covered some of his stuff as well. And he has been a big supporter of me through this also. He's really reached out and helped out a lot.
Good.
And he's given me some good advice. He's both a retired law enforcement and now an attorney. But he's down in Texas, so he's not going to drive up here. But
the more exposure, though, you can get to this kind of thing happening, even though that happened to you, the more will be done about it. Like, we have, United Truckers of America, Shannon Everett, he's calling attention here in this state to illegals driving trucks.
Yeah.
And he's really made a big scene nationally now. So it's just a matter of getting it out there.
Yeah, and I will say one more. Ty, if you followed the Seth Rich case at all, the guy who was murdered in Washington, D.C., and if you're a conspiracy theorist, you think he was the guy giving the emails to the Hillary campaign or the one. He was the one who was killed over those emails. And Ty has been the main investigator on that from the get-go. And anybody on the right who has that information, well, it came from Ty originally, and they've just recycled it. So, but like I said, he's been a super big supporter of me through this also, and been real help. So,
okay. Well, we would like to keep track of you.
Absolutely.
I'd like to maybe hook you up with some other folks on shows. Okay. And keep track of you when you're going on your little adventures there, and kind of know what you're doing, and if you have another, you know what I mean, kind of.
I've got so many adventures.
Anytime you want to go out, just give us a shout. We'll follow you up afterwards.
Okay. I will definitely do that. Sometime I'd like to talk to y'all also about, I've been a school teacher for a long time. And I've just recently moved school teaching back down to Saline County, finally, to get away with what was going on in the Little Rock and other Pulaski County.
Absolutely. Yeah, I understand.
And I've been down, and I can tell y'all firsthand about what's going on there with a lot of that people need to know as well sometime if you want to do that.
You talking about the Little Rock schools?
Little Rock and Jacksonville both.
Yes.
Hey, you want to talk to us about that anytime, man?
Problems too. I don't know
That's
about
one thing I'm big
Rock.
on is the school system, because I got my kids, they're in a private school to get them out of the public school system. So I love the learns and all that. So
I grew up in North Little Rock.
About that?
Now I've never been in the North Little Rock School District, but I've been in both Little Rock and Jacksonville.
But when I went, it was years. I graduated in '77, so it's a long time ago. But I'm familiar with. I want this, but this way. At my age, when I was in school, you could see it starting.
Right.
You could see the beginning.
Right.
Just metastasized over the years.
Yeah. And so there's a lot about that I'd like to get off my chest sometime for one of better ways.
Sure, because that's an important thing. I mean, that's created a lot of the school choice situation.
Right.
That's why Kevin doesn't have his kids in public school. He'd probably rather them be able to go to public school, but it's not good.
I teach public school. My son went to a private school, and people say, "Well, you're hypocritical." It's like, no. If I oppose school choice and I don't go to work and do the best I can to educate the kids I have, that would be hypocritical. But
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm in the public schools, but I'm also pro school choice for let them go wherever they want to go, because my feeling is I'm a good enough teacher. Okay, if everybody goes to the private schools, they're going to need more teachers. I'll get the job there. It doesn't worry me.
Well, they've tied, and I know I don't want to open another can of worms because you want to talk about this another time. But I got a lot of thoughts on that. I'm real old fashioned about school. To me, when they took discipline out and let the kids start running the classrooms, you got a problem.
I got a lot of stories for you.
And I know in Little Rock, I know good and well in Little Rock, kids run the schools.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that. That's my opinion. I'm sorry.
Well, I've got a lot I could tell you. First,
all right.
First, not secondhand, not hearsay. All right. I understand. Here's what happened.
Well, Brent.
Right, before we head out, I want to go do some media posts real quick. So I'm gonna plug in. I'm gonna plug you in, Brent, real quick before we head out. Now, here's your X post. Okay. That's get out of my way.
Yeah, I can. If you like apple butter or plum jam or any of that, I can also.
Oh, there you go.
Another copy.
Well, that's not.
I'm out right now. All my friends already got it all.
All right. So Real Okra Head on X. And you don't have any other sites right now, do you?
No. Just that. Also, if you like muscadine and scuppernong jelly.
Ooh, I like me some muscadine.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm out right now. But that's what's in the smaller picture there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You got
apple
butter. You got.
Oh, and also, I want you guys to go to our news page, Arkansas First, and follow all of us. We got a whole bunch of podcasts on here. We got a whole bunch of writers on here. We got old Jimmy Cavan on here, always stirring up trouble.
Clint Lancaster, who's an attorney, conservative attorney.
We got Jack Slato. He's got some good articles on here all the time. This was a good one right here.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a lot of folks on there, and we do know a few folks in the conservative movement a lot real well, and that are concerned with these kind of things. So we're glad you come out and shed the light on it, and you're doing brave work there. To me, you were the only brave one out there. The rest of them were cowards. So
I think there's some other brave ones. They just don't know yet. And if we can get the word out, I think it'll help.
No, I'm talking about at your incident that happened.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, there's a lot of folks that are doing good work, but you're doing good work, and we'd like to keep following you and maybe try to get your word spread of what happened in this incident.
Yeah.
And because the more people know about it, the less chance it is to happen if they'll start doing something about it. Yeah. It's really a simple remedy.
Yeah. Well, and Solomon said, because an evil work is not speedily punished, the hearts of the sons of men is set in them to do evil.
Well, Brent, it's been great having you. I appreciate you being on. And Saline County Hardliners is out.
We out, everybody.